Today I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about an error I was getting on my 2007 GMC Envoy. I was getting an error code P0455. That's some sort of an evap leak. And what was happening at first is that the gas light would come on, signaling that the gas cap was loose. I checked it, it was tight, but it kept doing it. It kept blinking, and then all of a sudden it would send a check engine light. And so what I did was I went ahead and I checked the gas cap first, because that's like the cheapest thing you can get. So let's go. Check the gas cap here. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's like a black seal there. And that black seal was kind of cracked on mine. Not too bad. I went ahead and reinstalled it. I bought a new one. I disconnected the battery. I cleared the code, but it came back on. The gas light cap kept blinking, and the check engine light came back up. And I needed to smog the car, so I needed to get that issue fixed. So I went ahead and started checking the evap hoses to see if there was a crack in one of them. Everything looked good. I started off by checking underneath the filler hose. So that's where you fill up, and you see that little green thing, and then it runs a plastic line. I cleaned it down. I didn't see any cracks. I didn't see any cracks on this big hose, which is the one that goes to the actual gas tank. That seemed fine, so I had to keep checking, right? So I ended up checking this. It's like an evap purge. Let's see if you guys can see it. There it is. You see that? It's got like a piece of metal holding onto that plastic. That plastic, there's an electricity plug that connects into it, and then it has that hose that you can see. It runs to it. So apparently, when there's electricity flowing to it, you're not supposed to be able to push air through that hose. And if there's electricity running to it, you shouldn't be able to push air into the hose. But if there's no electricity flowing to it, you should be able to push air. So with electricity, it blocks the air from going through. Without electricity, you're able to push air through. I noticed that hose didn't fit in snug, so I went ahead and wrapped a little bit of just like one wrap of electrical tape, just so that hose would fit more snug. I disassembled that piece by removing that. You see those three prongs? That center prong, you pull it outward, and it lets you slide that piece out. I went ahead and connected that piece to a battery, the car battery, positive and a negative. It didn't really matter which one was positive, which one was negative. There's two pins there. I went ahead and made contact, and I heard a clicking noise, meaning it was working. I had someone blow air into it as I put energy or electricity to it, and it wouldn't let them push air through. But the moment there was no electricity, you could push air through. So that told me that was working fine. I went ahead and replugged it. I made sure that hose was snug, because it wasn't snug at first. So that could have been causing an issue. But overall, I kind of felt that part was working fine. So I kept looking at the lines. You know, I wiped them down, made sure there was no cracks. And then I went to the front of the car. I went to the front of the car, and there's a solenoid there, a purge solenoid valve, it's called. And let's see if you can see it. So there's the engine. See that? And on the side of the engine block, that's where you'll see the part. There it is. That's the electricity prong that goes to it, and then this little shiny line, that's the vapors that are made in the gas tank. They travel through there, right? But they have nowhere to go unless electricity flows to that part or that sensor. It opens up and it shoots the air up that way through the hose. I went ahead and checked this line too, made sure it had no cracks, and then that that vapor that's caused inside of the gas tank burns in here, okay? That thing sucks air. That was plugged in correctly, so there was no evap leak there. So I went ahead and took that part off here on the side because I needed to check to see if maybe it was busted. So this is what that part looks like. It's let's see, this is the part. It's a purge valve solenoid P0455. This is what the part looks like when it's been disconnected. See, those are the prongs. The prongs are in there. There it is, 1, 2. I connected electricity to this as well from the battery, just a regular car battery. Of course, don't let the wires touch as you're doing that. You can short something. So I noticed that this was making a clicking noise. Now the computer tells this item when to open and when to close. When it opens, it sends the vapors up to the top here, like I said, so that they can burn off. But when it's closed, it should be closed. There shouldn't be any air going through it. So like I said, I connected it to the electricity. It was making a good clicking noise, but I wanted to check to see if it was really sealing, if there was no leaking. And apparently there was. Let me see if you can hear it. You might not be able to hear it, it's not that loud, but it's definitely happening. Okay, so you're not supposed to be able to push any air through it. So what happens is that when a lot of air is building up inside of the evap system, the computer detects if there's a loss somewhere. And if it hasn't given any of these sensors permission to let any out, it detects an evap leak. So I went ahead and switched the part. It was $30. I just disconnected that prong from the electricity, the pipe that goes from here, pipe that goes from there. I put it back inside the engine block, and that's it. The error code is gone. Again, that's error code, let's see, P0455. I drove it for about 10 minutes. The check engine light came out or came off by itself, and gas cap light never came back on, passed emissions, and I hope this helps someone. I know that there's different ways of doing this, perhaps by connecting a smoke machine to it, and you're able to see where the smoke's coming from, but that's like $100. So you can do that, you know, or just try and fix it yourself. The piece here was $30. Well, good luck, have a good one.